What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from Anime Uproar, and with the crazy new developments in the One Piece story, especially in terms of bounties, I thought it was a great time to do an updated list of the most wanted pirates of all time. If you do enjoy One Piece videos like this one, channel Pirate King within and smash that like button. Remember, smashing is Pirate King energy and passing is scared Orochi energy, so choose wisely. If you haven't joined the Nakama, by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to turn on all notifications so you don't miss future One Piece videos and updates. Now, I want to thank DNF Duel for sponsoring this video. All of us here love anime waifus, epic battles, and great stories, and DNF Duel offers all that and more. One of the most popular and widely played RPGs, Dungeon Fighter, is now back as a 2.5D action fighting game for PS4, PS5, and PC. It's packed with lore and great character designs, my personal favorite being Dragon Knight. Not only is she gorgeous, I've also always loved dragons, so being able to use one as a weapon in a fight is amazing, and the dragon's so cute as well. Plus, Dragon Knight can fly, which is just so cool. The game is so easy to pick up that you can get started right away. I just jumped into the story mode and figured it out as I went, while making quick work of my opponents. The game's fun, funky, and has badass, beautiful, and adorable characters to choose from. I'm loving it. DNF Duel is available on PS4, PS5, and PC now via Steam. Check it out right now by using the link in my description, and I'll see you there. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. So as you guys know, bounties aren't straightforward. They don't just represent the strength of someone, they can represent the crew's threat level, their threat level to the world government and established world order, and sometimes it may even be kept smaller than it should be so as not to give too much attention to an especially dangerous pirate, as we are about to see. So just keep all of that in mind. Bounties are hype, but they are ultimately just a weapon that the world government has at their disposal, and in the end they use it in any way that will best serve their own ends. So at number 10, we start off strong with Luffy's old bounty of 1.5 billion berries. This was actually Luffy's 6th bounty and happened after he was recognized as Sabo's, further tying him to the Revolutionaries, the most dangerous organization to the world government, and after the events of Whole Cake Island and his defeat of Yonko commander Charlotte Cracker, whose bounty was 860 million, and Big Mom's strongest commander Charlotte Katakuri, whose bounty was 1.057 billion. With this bounty, Luffy also gained the title of the 5th Emperor thanks to the legend Big News Morgans. As the title suggests, this bounty catapulted Luffy above all Yonko commanders, and only the Yonko were left for him to pass. To be fair, Luffy was catapulted ahead of all Yonko commanders with known bounties specifically, but we still don't know some bounties like Ben Beckman's, which could potentially be quite high. Number 9 is none other than Yonko Blackbeard at 2.2476 billion berries. This is probably one of the most hyped top 10 lists ever when number 10 and 9 are Luffy and Yonko Blackbeard, but it's true. Unless Blackbeard's bounty has changed off screen, which is definitely possible as we'll discuss later, his current bounty is less than Luffy's. Blackbeard was previously a member of the Whitebeard pirates, then he became a warlord. He defeated Ace, one of Whitebeard's strongest commanders, in battle. He went on to recruit multiple level 6 prisoners at Impel Down. As Sengoku described it, he took the strongest of the world's most dangerous prisoners. Sengoku says even one level 6 prisoner can cause unimaginable chaos simply by infiltrating a nation. So you can imagine that multiple working together under the master planner Blackbeard is much more concerning. Of course, he also participated in the Summit War at Marineford, and you can even say he was the biggest winner in it. Not only did he get strong crew members, he also killed Yonko Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world, who to be fair was very injured, and Blackbeard sort of just swooped in after the heavy lifting was done, but still, it's a very legend building detail that people can say about Blackbeard. He then stole the Gura Gura no Mi, a fruit that is said to be able to destroy the world and is considered to be the strongest paramecia fruit, and became the first character we know of to wield 2 devil fruits, even though that's supposed to be impossible. Finally, he, to use Robin's own word, obliterated Marco and the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates during the Payback War, and in doing so solidified his position as the newest Yonko. Thus, it's no surprise he received such a high bounty. Next, for number 8, number 7, and number 6, we have a 3-way tie, surprisingly. And now we really start to break from tradition in regards to how bounty levels are determined. Just recently, it's been revealed that Monkey D. Luffy, Eustace Kid, and Trafalgar D. Water Law all received a 3 billion berry bounty. I don't want to take anything away from Kid and Law. They killed it this arc, they've been amazing. Together they beat a Yonko, namely Big Mom, who had a bounty of over 4 billion, so I'm totally cool with their combined bounty being higher than Big Mom's bounty, but the problem is, Luffy got the same bounty even though he took down Kaido alone for all intents and purposes, despite some other characters hurting Kaido a bit before their match. Plus, there's the fact that Luffy just awakened the most ridiculous power in the world that the world government arguably fears the most. These bounties only make sense if A, they don't consider the details of the battles, just the fact that these 3 supernova beat 2 Yonko, or B, if the world government wants to avoid putting any extra spotlight on Luffy than absolutely necessary. The latter is probably the case, as we saw them freak out over Luffy's Gear 5 aka Awakened Sun God Nika form being featured on his wanted poster, along with the D initial in his name. They want to spin the story like these 3 roughly equal supernova beat these 2 Yonko and that's that. This way they hope to limit the attention on Luffy, the Joy Boy and Warrior of Liberation of the new era, who, if legend is correct, is the biggest threat to the world government because he is destined to free all those under the government's control. Thus, in my view, Luffy, after beating the strongest creature in the world and awakening the most ridiculous power that hasn't been seen in 800 years, deserves the highest bounty we've seen to date. But because it would actually be bad for the government to put the spotlight on the Warrior of Liberation, they purposely used the wanted poster to hide the truth as much as they could, showing that in the end the wanted posters are but tools for the government to use for their own benefit and not objective or scientific measurements of threat level or strength. Number 5 is Yonko Shanks at 4.0489 billion berries, and believe it or not, now our red-haired boy has the highest known active bounty in the series. This serves the government well because they know Shanks is not the one to cause unnecessary trouble, and the 5 elders are even willing to secretly meet with him without trying to capture him, showing that they are not too worried about him. Obviously, in their view, Luffy is a bigger threat, but they still gave Luffy a lower bounty for tactical reasons. Number 4 and number 3 are Big Mom at 4.388 billion and Kaido at 4.6111 billion. Both of their bounties have become inactive in light of their recent defeats by the 3 supernova Kid, Law, and Luffy. It's funny to look at how the world government uses bounties to help manipulate public perception. In light of recent events, the public might assume the 2 most dangerous living Yonko with the highest known bounties have been defeated, and now the government's job must be easier because instead of taking down the strongest creature in the world and his legendary Yonko partner, they only gotta take down 3 upstarts who are weaker individually than either of the Yonko. In reality, the situation is much worse though, as we know, since in Kaido's case, he was more or less close with the world government, close enough to allow CP0 agents to chill in his territory. However, Luffy, who physically beat the strongest creature in the world, cannot be controlled and will continue to seek liberation for others, which will require eventually the downfall of the world government, and he won't compromise his ideals. So, even though we know Kaido was less of a threat to the world government, they don't let Luffy pass Kaido's bounty or even Big Mom's bounty. Number 2 is Whitebeard at 5.046 billion. This one is obviously also inactive since Whitebeard is dead after all. However, when he lived, he not only possessed the power to destroy the world via the Gura Gura no Mi, he was also viewed as the strongest man in the world and the man closest to One Piece. He fought on equal terms with his rival, Pirate King Gol D Roger, and as a younger man, he arguably could have become the next Pirate King and found the One Piece, but he wasn't interested because he prioritized his crew, aka his family. He was uninterested in the One Piece and in taking down the world government until they wanted to execute his family, and so it was safe for the world government to let him keep the highest active bounty while he lived. Furthermore, when he died at Marineford, that again helped the government's public image in the sense that they could look back and say they helped take down the biggest threat in the world, and thus the world is now a safer place, and even the strongest man in the world wasn't strong enough to beat the world government. Lastly, number 1 is the great pirate Gol D Roger, the former Pirate King. As with Luffy, the government wanted to erase the D from his name, and in his case succeeded by changing his name to Gold Roger on the wanted poster. This is a little clue to us that Luffy has reached a similar status in the eyes of the world government, and I of course think he's more dangerous as I've explained because Roger didn't have the Sun God Nika fruit. Furthermore, as Roger mentioned before, he knew he was too early, so he wasn't planning to take down the world government. In fact, we were told he helped the world government and Celestial Dragons at God Valley when he worked together with the hero of the Marines Garp to take down the Rocks pirates. Then he handed himself over to the world government when he was sick, and so the world government looked strong because they got to publicly execute him, the man with the highest bounty ever as far as we know. From the government's perspective, they might purposely never want to give any other enemy a higher bounty because as things stand, they can always publicly maintain the image that if they could beat and execute the Pirate King, Gol D, then no one should think that a pirate with a lower bounty can take them down. In this way, the government maintains the appearance of strength even though behind the scenes, the situation is way different and way worse for them. And so these last bounty reveals have completely changed the game and the way we view bounties. Now, Dragon might in fact have a lower bounty than he deserves, even if he's the world's worst criminal, because the government doesn't want to give him too much attention or hype. That being said, I should clarify that I've discussed known bounties in this video, and it's quite likely that future revealed bounties will change the makeup of this list. For instance, Dragon might break into the top 10. Blackbeard might have a new bounty which would make sense, or else two non-Yonko, namely Kid and Law, would have higher bounties than him. The myth, the man, the legend, Buggy D Clown, who became a new Yonko along with Luffy, also might have a bounty now that gets him into this top 10 list. So I may need to do an updated version sooner rather than later. But for now, just let me know your top picks for who will break into this list. Will Rox D Zebek? Will Ben Beckman? Will Zoro? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. Be a smashing Pirate King rather than a passing Orochi. If you have enjoyed, then knock him out by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future One Piece videos and updates. And while you wait for the next video to drop, feel free to check out my huge and growing One Piece playlist that includes videos on all the Admirals, Yonko, Warlords, and much more. Link to that is in the description. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.